putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
I'm just not the protecting type. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's say we're together in the mall, me and you, beautiful, and somebody slapped the hell out of you. You probably should have ducked. Because that's just... That actually happened to me. I was walking to the mall, holding hands with my lady. A big dude, like 6'5", slapped her on the butt, said, "This is a fine tramp." Pow! She said, "You better do something." I said, "You better learn how to take a compliment, because I'm not getting whooped for you at all."
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. Not that brave. That is so true. Leftist men are the biggest pansies on the planet. They won't admit it, but it's true. Here's the thing. I talk all the time about, my training in martial arts as a little kid, growing up tough and so on and so forth. I'm the biggest cream puff on the planet. I don't ever want to, if I never have to fight again for the rest of my life, God bless me and the rest of the world for not picking on me or whatever. But, and to that point, I'm very humble. Many people around me have seen where somebody's bothered me. I'm in a group or whatever, and somebody says something and tries to get everybody's goat, and I pretty much just go, "Hey, yeah, you're right. You're the tough guy. You're exactly right. We never should have, had you accidentally bump into us and spill your drink on us. We're very sorry that we were standing in the way of you as you were doing something stupid, whatever. But it's on us." Many of my friends will tell you, I have avoided the fight, for many, many years. It's been decades. And I'm telling you, I had a volatile period where I would fight for, any reason. But there came a point where I was like, it's not even worth it. My friends had seen enough, so they would just, yeah, okay, you're right. And they would avoid the carnage that would follow. And we would all just agree that, whoever did something that aggrieved us was okay. And we'd walk away. And I think that there's something to be said for showcasing humility. I believe that we, as conservatives, have definitely showcased humility. We are the baddest dudes out there. We not only have righteousness on our side, we have God on our side. We could go through and just make it what do they call it, when we beat up on the Muslims. We could do that all over again. I'll think of the word. I don't even want you to don't even tell me. Don't even tell me. Anyway, so we could do this, but we've been very humble. When we know these people are wrong, we've been humble. When we know they've been mean-spirited toward us, we've been humble. And finally, you know what we've said? The humility is over. It isn't that we're suddenly going to become cocky or anything like that, but what we've said is we've shown humility, and now it's time to show that we are no longer going to take it. And so we're now fighting back. Chris Rock said as a joke that he wanted to see white kids get killed in the same number as black kids. That's when everything will be right. That's when America has righted itself. Now, I'll tell you this. If white kids were being killed in record numbers every day, that, like, let's say Chicago had the suburban nights, and white kids were being killed all the time, and we're going through the plight of blacks, I would feel bad. I would wonder, what in the nation do we need to do to change this? The same way I feel bad that it's currently happening to blacks. But I would never say to myself, wow, and I don't know if I don't think there's a white person I know that would say, like, the thing ain't going to be right in America until black people are being killed in the same number as white kids. No conservative I know would ever wish that upon somebody else. Now, Chris Rock can say, I was joking. He's got jokes, and maybe he was. It's a funny line if you're talking to a black audience, like, yeah, maybe that'll bring attention to him when they see white kids getting killed. White kids get killed every day. These tragedies like this are practically unique to whites, where some kid goes in and shoots up his school. Practically unique. And you would think that Chris Rock and many others would be able to find the humanity of it and say, I feel for the tragedy of these parents and the tragedy that would lead a young man like this kid, Nicholas Cruz, to do what he did. But they don't see it. They see it as it's gun control, it's more Donald Trump, it's conservative movement, it's the NRA, it's Republicans, it's all the things that have nothing to do with what really is the underlying issue with this. I said this before, leftists fear guns because they know nothing about guns, and they fear politics for the same reason. That should be in brainy quotes. I'm just telling you, true story. It's amazing to me how we've watched these guys react out of fear, and there's something to be said for the power of humility. And what I'm talking about is these two kids that did something amazing while this tragedy was developing in Florida. Let's play that clip.
So you guys are both part of JROTC?
Yes, sir. I'm a captain. I'm a company commander. I'm in charge of a whole class period, about 55, 60 kids. And we were out there for formation. I looked at my watch. It was 2:20, and I said, you know what, let's go in early. Sometimes I keep them out there all the way till the bell or just slightly before it. And I was like, let's just go in early today. I don't know why, but something in me just told me to go in early. I brought them in. 2 minutes into getting into the classroom, around 2:30, I hear the bell ring for the fire alarm. And we start heading out. I line all the kids up outside. I'm leading the line, and we're heading out. And it just so happens our fire zone was exactly where the shooter was. So I'm heading that way.
Did you see the shooter?
I did not see the shooter, but I heard the first 2 or 3 pops, and I knew it was gunshots. I looked back at all the kids behind me. There's 60 kids looking at me. What do I do? Where do I go? I just yell, get back in the classroom. Everyone starts sprinting back. They're trampling over each other. I start running. I see a kid in front of me almost fall, and I'm like, wait, slow down, take it slowly. I start trying to just herd kids in there, get them to where they're not pushing and trampling each other, and just get them into the room safely. I pulled in teachers. I pulled in kids that weren't in my class. There was kids walking around that had no clue where to go, and I was like, if you don't know where your class is, get in mine. I just pulled them in. We shoved them in the back of the classroom, and me and Colton took these Kevlar mats that we have from our marksmanship.
Kevlar, so hold on, slow down for 1 second here. So you've got all these guys, teachers, students, huddled into this classroom together. You just mentioned Kevlar, so like a material for a bulletproof vest.
Yes, sir, like the body armor.
Like body armor.
Yes,
so that just happened to be because you guys are part of JROTC.
Yes, sir.
You knew that was going to be in the classroom, or you found it once you got in there?
Yeah, we knew it was in there. We're in there daily, and he goes, hey, we should put those mats in front of everyone. They're Kevlar. They're big hanging
So at that point,
Kevlar.
You guys had met up, and you guys were together in the same
right.
classroom.
Yeah.
I heard the 7 gunshots that I heard.
You heard 7. You
Seven.
counted them
I
specifically?
counted 7.
What did you do at that point? Did you also grab some students and say, hey, we're going to this classroom?
As soon as I heard the 7 gunshots, I reopened the door, and as I was taking a step, my first sergeant walked in the room and said, don't go. So I turned around, I shut my door, pulled a student in, and I brought him into the other room, and I started getting people in. So at
that point, you guys are in the same space?
Yes, we met
Okay,
up.
and then you guys had this Kevlar material. What did you do with that?
They're big hanging curtains of Kevlar, and he said to me, he was like, those are Kevlar, we should put them in front of us. And I was like, you're a genius, that's a great idea. I went and confirmed it with my first sergeant, and me and him started moving them. We made a wall in front of all the kids out of the Kevlar pads. Wow.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. KJRadio.com, 844-551-8255. 2 young future leaders. 2 people who got it. I don't know what made this kid not have his cadets out there in formation. I was a member of JROTC at a school. Reserve Officers Training Corps, Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. And we learned about leadership. We learned about what to do in dire circumstances. And something led this kid to say, let's not have you all out here right now. I say it's a God thing, because this guy would have loved shooting cadets, because most of these kids probably dressed in uniform. But what he said was, something told me, let them go in early. So they go in early. Then he starts to describe the scene. Pop, 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 3 shots. He knew it was gunfire. You want to know why? Because he's JROTC. He understands it. Gets the kids inside. More shots ring out. The other kid said, I heard 7 shots. Then they find the Kevlar, and they do something smart. They're like, you know what? We might be able to protect these kids. They didn't have firearms, because they would have used them. They would have been able to do something. But they protected these kids. The reason why I brought this story up is we've already talked about the hero coach. But there are other heroes. These kids are heroes, and who knows what their lives are going to be going forward. But what an amazing story. And I'll tell you something else that comes out of tragedies of what happened to this school in Florida last week. What comes out of these are stories that you can't get elsewhere. A kid whose brother was in school, he was a junior, his brother's a freshman, and he says, I've always sort of looked at my little brother as no big deal. But in the case of this, his 14-year-old brother, he said, you know what? I was so concerned about him. I'm never going to mistreat him again. In that tragedy comes this story of a family that grew tighter, siblings that grew tighter, classmates that will grow tighter, teachers that will never be forgotten, and so on and so forth. Look, folks, I'm not asking for this type of a tragedy, but leftism is going to give it to us. But what I'm going to tell you about are the people who rise above it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.